You know, when we think about huge national achievements, we usually just see the end result, right? The big, flashy moment. But what about the people behind the scenes? The ones who spent decades, often in total secrecy, to make it all possible. Well, today, we're going to pull back that curtain. We're diving into the story of India's nuclear program, and more importantly, the silent heroes who made it a reality.
Yeah, this isn't just a story about politics or big explosions. At its heart, it's a story about people. It's about incredible focus, real sacrifice, and this unwavering chase after a single, powerful vision. All happening, for the most part, completely out of the spotlight.
Okay, so to really get this, we've got to rewind the clock. Picture this, it's right after World War II. The world is still shaken, having just seen the terrifying power of the atom bomb. But in the middle of all that fear, one scientist in India, a man named Dr. Homi Jahangir Bhabha, looked at that same power and saw something totally different.
And his idea? It was absolutely revolutionary for the time. I mean, think about it. The whole world is terrified of the bomb, and here he comes saying, wait a minute. For him, the atom wasn't about destruction. Nope. It was a tool for progress, for building a new, self-reliant India. He imagined using science to tackle the country's biggest challenges. And you know what? That vision was a perfect fit for Prime Minister Nehru and a brand new nation that was eager to stand on its own 2 feet.
And this wasn't just some pipe dream either. They got to work immediately. Bhabha was already laying the groundwork before independence, founding the Tata Institute of Fundamental Research. And then, bam, almost as soon as India is independent, the Atomic Energy Commission is created. These two institutions, they were the bedrock for everything that was about to happen.
But look, having a great vision is one thing. You need the right people to actually build it, right? And Bhabha, well, he was a genius at spotting talent. He assembled this incredible core team of scientists, the very people who would go on to design and build India's entire atomic future.
And these are the names you really ought to know. Seriously, they might not be famous celebrities, but their combined brain power was the absolute engine of this whole project. Every single one of them was crucial, from the physics to the design to the engineering. These guys, they were the original silent heroes we're talking about.
And the success they had right out of the gate was just stunning. Think about this. Just 9 years after independence, this team does something truly incredible. They build the Apsara reactor. And it's not just any reactor, it's the first in all of Asia. This wasn't just a piece of tech. It was a massive statement to the world that India was here to play on the global stage of science.
You see, it was never just about the reactor. It was so much more than that. It was about proving a point. For a brand new country just emerging from centuries of colonial rule, the real motivation was this deep, burning desire to be self-reliant, to show the world and themselves that they could master the atom completely on their own terms without outside help.
But as you can imagine, the road ahead was anything but smooth. The next chapter of the story, well, it's packed with huge challenges, a really heartbreaking tragedy, and it all leads up to a top-secret operation that was going to put India on the map in the most dramatic way you can imagine.
Then, in 1966, the unthinkable happens. Homi Bhabha, the visionary, the leader, the guy who started it all, he dies in a plane crash. It was an absolutely devastating blow. Just like that, he was gone. And for a scary moment there, it really felt like the entire dream might have died with it.
But here's the thing. Bhabha had built more than just a program. He'd built a culture. And the scientists he'd mentored, his team, they just refused to let that dream die. They picked up the torch and carried on his work with this quiet, intense dedication. You have to understand, they were working in such secrecy that many of them couldn't even tell their own families what they were doing. The mission, it was everything. And all that quiet dedication finally led to this moment in 1974, Operation Smiling Buddha. Prime Minister Indira Gandhi gives the top-secret order. Out in the middle of the Pokhran Desert, the team, now led by Dr. Raja Ramana, works in total secrecy. And then, they do it. They succeed. India had just detonated its first nuclear device. It had joined the club.
And what's so fascinating is how they talked about it. Officially, India called it a peaceful nuclear explosion, right? Sticking to Bhabha's original idea of using atomic energy for good. But the rest of the world? They heard something very, very different. The message they got was loud and clear. A new power has arrived on the scene. And just like that, the global chessboard was rearranged.
So, the 1974 test made huge headlines all over the world. But the story is far from over. In fact, what happens next might be the biggest proof of this team's incredible dedication. We're talking about another 2 decades of silent, non-stop work.
Just look at this timeline.
You see that gap? 24 years between the first test and the next series. Now that wasn't a break. Not at all. That was nearly 2.5 decades of quiet, heads-down research and development. No headlines, no fame, just pure, focused work building on everything they'd learned in 1974.
And all that quiet work paid off big time in 1998. A whole new generation of leaders, both scientific, like the amazing Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, and political, carried that torch forward. The Pokhran-2 tests were a series of 5 successful tests. This wasn't just one explosion, it was a demonstration of advanced capabilities. After this, there was zero doubt in anyone's mind. This was the final, full-circle moment. Baba's original dream fully realized.
So what's the big takeaway here? Why does all this matter so much? Well, because the work of these quiet heroes gave India way more than just a weapon. It laid the foundation for nuclear energy. It boosted the country's scientific reputation, and most importantly, it gave India the power to make its own decisions on the world stage. It gave the nation the dignity and the confidence to walk its own path.
And all of this kind of leaves us with a pretty big question, doesn't it? We tend to remember history by its loudest moments, the big explosions, the shocking headlines. But what this story really shows us is that the real work, the foundation of all that achievement, is so often built in total silence. It's built by people who are chasing results, not fame. So I'll leave you with this. What's the real measure of a legacy? Is it the headline that everyone reads, or is it all the quiet, unseen work that made that headline possible in the first place?